I'm John Howard. In today's short video, I'm going to talk about Peter Thiel and what he calls the real estate catastrophe. In case y'all don't know who Peter Thiel is, he is actually a billionaire investor. He is the original first financier of Facebook, and then also was one of the kind of the original financiers or the original team of PayPal. Okay. So billionaire investor Peter Thiel recently sounded an urgent alarm. The U.S. is heading toward a real estate catastrophe, one that disproportionately impacts young adults and the lower middle class, and anyone below the lower middle class, of course. Here, and we'll start off a quote from Peter Thiel. I don't really have very many. I talk a lot about real estate on this channel, but I don't have any real estate quotes per se from Peter Thiel. But here it is. The most valuable business is in the coming decades will be built by entrepreneurs who seek to empower people rather than try to make them obsolete. So in this catastrophe warning, Peter Thiel draws on Henry George's 19th century economic theory, which emphasizes how real estate is extremely inelastic, meaning even modest population growth can trigger massive spikes in home values or rent. For every 10% increase in population, home prices might balloon by 50%, yet wages remain sluggish. So what's the outcome? The outcome is a GDP boom, but one accompanied by a giant windfall to boomers, landlords, and upper middle class homeowners, while sidelining younger renters and aspiring first-time buyers. Why this matters right now? Rent is the silent inflation killer. I mean, that's kind of, obvious, right? While everyday items like eggs has made headlines, rent has quietly become the central inflation driver. Higher living costs compress disposable income, potentially preventing upward mobility. Thiel argues that restrictive zoning laws and cumbersome regulations have slowed new housing supply, thereby exacerbating scarcity and swamping affordability. Risk of widening generational inequality. Without reform, we're witnessing an acceleration of wealth transfer from what used to be young renters to older homeowners, a dynamic that can erode starting and growing families, social cohesion, and squeeze the middle class. So what do? Well, we could streamline zoning laws, simplify or eliminate zoning barriers, encourage denser mixed-use development, and empower ARUs, ADUs, ADU stands for additional dwelling units, to breathe life into strained housing markets. Incentivize building, not just ownership. Policymakers should shift from favoring purchase-heavy policies to rewarding new construction, especially in high-demand locations. Reframe inflation conversations. National discussions on inflation must include rent and real estate costs, because for most Americans, they are the largest single household expense. Champion intergenerational equity. Leaders and professionals have a role in advocating for policies that support economic opportunity, family formation, and wealth building for younger groups of people. What about the silver linings? Well, there's talk of a windfall for a class of boomers, implying that those well-positioned and perhaps open to rebuilding communities tend to benefit from smart, supply-focused housing reform. But this must be done responsibly with equity in mind. For industry leaders, policymakers, and corporate stakeholders, real estate firms and developers tap into new opportunities by supporting higher density zoning in creative housing markets. Employers advocate for housing priority benefits such as relocation subsidies or down pay assistance to attract top talent. If you like any of this content, if you are in a place where you like this rentals content, I have some links in the description. What you can do is you can click on the link, or also an email address. You can contact me if you're somebody that is, if you're interested in maybe speaking with somebody that's a little bit further ahead of you. I have something called an SMTR launch kit, short medium term rentals launch kit. very inexpensive. And I also have a way to kind of work with people. Again, just very basic, simple coaching in various forms. So you go ahead and see those links in there. Also, you can consider subscribing to the channel or giving the video a like. And then you also, if you know somebody, maybe not yourself, but if you know somebody that might like this content, you can send it to them. Thank you. Investors, look at housing not just as an asset, but as a public good that requires sustainable, equitable frameworks. So what do you think? Have you experienced the rent squeeze firsthand? Which zoning reforms should come first? Can private sector leadership help shape housing landscape better for young adults? According to Peter Thiel, if we don't act now, the real estate catastrophe isn't just looming, it's already here. So, what does this really mean? I mean, obviously, a lot of people aren't going to go from being, oh, let me go become a real estate investor to now let me become a developer, right? In terms of getting involved in zoning laws and all that. Basically on this channel, I've been talking a lot about real estate. In fact, I have done short and medium-term furnished rentals for literally the last 2 decades. And during that time, I also launched and operated 4 different businesses that got up to 7 figures plus per year, simultaneously owning or operating 5 different short and medium-term rentals. So it is definitely something that you can kind of do on the side. And the reason I bring that up is I actually, where I live now, I'm in Southern California in Los Angeles, and I'm fortunately have some, I don't know if it's really rent control, but the actual owners where I rent, do have a limit on how much they could, increase the rent each year. So fortunately, I have, benefited from those requirements. But the spirit of this video and the reason that I did it is because, Peter Thiel, while I've kind of observed him saying lots of different things, seems to have a pretty valid point. And the reality is if you want to get involved in real estate investing, it seems like it's, not much better of a time than now, according to, what Peter Thiel has recently said, right? And, you can, really get started. In fact, if you look at one of my other videos, I will link it in here. I talk about NACA, which stands for the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America. What they've done is NACA is all about actually assisting people who have bad credit or don't have the credit to get a traditional mortgage and don't have the income to get a traditional mortgage. And what they do is they literally assist them in getting from where they are in terms of a renter into actually owning a home. And one of the, so just a quick snapshot of NACA is they've actually served literally 3 million people in one way or another. They funded $20 billion worth of mortgages. So the reason I bring up NACA is because with NACA, you could literally go in and they have ways that you could go in and buy land literally from governments and then leverage their relationship with home builders to actually build homes. So not that everybody's going to go run and jump at getting with NACA to become a developer, but at the same time, you still could use NACA to actually get your first real estate investment. The only caveat with NACA is they put a 5-year lien on the property, so that you don't rent it or actually sell it in 5 years. And if you do, you actually would have to pay the lien that they have on the property, which really 5 years is actually not that long to own a property anyway. So the essence of this video is really to kind of highlight Peter Thiel and his experience as a billionaire, globally known investor, and the alarm that he's sounding, on real estate and how inelastic it is and how important it is to get in there and start investing. Everybody, hopefully you enjoyed this content. If you like content like this, in terms of real estate content, also investing content, I plan to do a lot more than just real estate in the future. You can consider giving the video a like and also subscribing to the channel. Also, you'll see links in the description. If you are interested in getting involved in real estate, I have, you can go there and you can see some links in there, and very basic program, very inexpensive, that you can actually work with me. I also have an email address listed. You can contact me with any questions, and I have very basic, again, very inexpensive email coaching per month if you'd like. And that's really if you have an interest in working with somebody that may be a little further ahead of you in real estate investing. I have something called the SMTR, which stands for Short Medium Term Rentals Launch Kit. I've actually, again, I've got 3 rentals in my portfolio. I've done at this current time. I've done short and medium term furnished rentals for literally the last 2 decades. In fact, you'll often find me saying, turn a tax liability into a scalable investment and generate consistent 4- and 5-figure deposits and a $1 million net worth through short and medium term rentals. Okay, thank you very much. And if you have any questions, leave them in the commentary.